Welcome everyone, I'm the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 19. Alright, so they did Friday matches again, which as long as you're below gold rank, you get extra points, and you lose less points when you lose. I also had a nice surplus of those save your point cards if you lose, so I was hoping to maybe get some progress here. Unfortunately, majority of the boxes have been kind of similar to this. Usually, if it's not just flat out no tanks and it's all just like AoE rush, I'm pretty much screwed in most cases. Virelia has been kind of a problem. Well, she's usually a problem if she has a way of closing the distance, like using Audon Kelmo or someone that can teleport her over, or even in the simplest cases, just an act again with some additional mobility, like from S19, can pretty much make it so I get destroyed by her. Yeah, if I don't have someone like Christiane and Rosenseal, Virelia can kind of just kill everyone with her double tap followed with fixed damage. It just does so much. In any case, my opponent banned Rosenseal, which tends to be the opener for a lot of them for if they're going to go for an AoE rush. This box is definitely very rushy, but not as rushy as some of the other ones I ran into. And then besides that, the other thing that tends to happen very often is a lot of the Bright Summoners are now mages, taking advantage of that rush strat that I've been using. They even have the same kit. As for the box, my box, the only thing that's been changed, I believe, is Salika is now 6 stars. I believe Bright Summoner has been 6 stars at this point. And then Tiana is the only one that is not 6 stars. She is only 5. Alright, let's go ahead, and the only other thing I'm looking at right now is, let's see, 2 primary tanks, and I guess technically 2 healers, though it's hard to tell with Bright Summoner because you don't know what class she is. Alright, so yeah, the ban Rosenseal, I go ahead and ban their Ice Melda. And I go ahead and grab my Bright Summoner. They go ahead and ban Tiana and Ice Melda. And I go straight for Jace, which is terrifying. The other thing I need to also pay attention to is certain maps that don't really play well with rush strats. Bright Summoner, I think I can ignore terrain with, but she can't fly, at least not in this form. And that does matter in some maps. The map, that one Infamous map that has only like 4 grass tiles in it, or 2 grass tiles in it, that one has done a number to me in the past. Anyway, they got Jace. I go ahead and ban Eschian and Isolde. And I go ahead and grab my Isolde. I go ahead and start banning more of my healers. Actually, that is all my healers. They go ahead and grab Sword and Light and Shadow. Sword and Light and Shadow can also be really devastating now. In combination with Bright Summoner, if they do the rush strat, usually I can only kill one. If they both rush in, you know, the pets and the Bright Summoner, you know, just runs in and does as much as possible. That gives it gives Sword and Light and Shadow a jump off point to easily follow up with her own AoEs. And then her AoE also, of course, makes it so you can't act again. So it's just really, really bad. So yeah, there's a lot of nasty combos that I don't really have answers for, besides just grabbing a healer sooner. In any case, I do get rid of, what is his name? Ymir. I get rid of Namiya. I've been banning Namiya over Virelia, and that's probably not been a right decision. Mainly the issue with Namiya is the fact that she can reach me immediately. But compared to Virelia, Namiya is just an annoyance that I can kind of just endure. So I'm probably going to start banning her less over some other characters. So I grab Eschian. I take Silvaria, get rid of my Grenshiel. I am definitely at the point where I'm probably going to drop Silvaria soon. The meta, there's just no way to make her work in the meta. I rely heavily on Octagons. She requires setup, which just doesn't work in this. At this point, yeah, like I said, I mean, I could rush down with Bright Summoner turn 1 now, and there's a number of other characters that can do something very similar or very close to it. So there's just no way for her to snipe at the range that I need her to. So I'm probably going to be replacing her with the Yillis character that's going to be coming out. which will also make it so I have 4 healers again, which will be a lot more helpful. Anyway, we got Alden Kelmo here. I go ahead and ban Verilia, get rid of the Awakened one. I go ahead and grab, is it Kiara? I don't remember her name. Alright, so they banned my tanks at this point, leaving me with Freya and Hilda. I kind of wish I had more tanks that had like an aura that reduces AoE damage and magic damage, but Freya has been... She tends to either just completely flop or she catches the opponent completely off guard. It's just one or the other. Hilda I really only use to kind of put out terrain, and that's about it. So they go ahead and grab Rose and Seal. At this point, I also banned their tanks, so I can easily follow up if I need to. I go ahead and grab Freya. So at this point, I don't really have a primary healer. I can heal a bit with Bright Summoner if I really want to, but I don't want to. Alright, so let's turn on the grid. There we go. Alright, so Isolde, Star Prisma is all of our exclusives. Karika, sorry, I think I said Kiara. I'm pretty sure that's a YouTuber. Alright, or VTuber, sorry. Karika, I did opt for Snipe because my opponent doesn't have a tank, so I can take advantage of the extra range and just snipe, quote-unquote, snipe from afar. That's the other situation, is I can generally do almost the same thing as Silvaria, minus the guard bypass with just Karika, and Karika also can buff other people. The only thing that sucks about Karika is I don't really have a reliable way of buffing her outside of a tank faction buff. Freya, I went with Heavy Shield just in case I do get blasted by their Sword and Light Shadow. With, of course, Redeemers, we got Bright Summoner. I went with Holy Dragon Breath, and then, of course, all of our summons in 3C with Fairy Spirit Prophets. And then down here we have all exclusives on SGN with Star Prismas. Over here we got Jace with all of his exclusives with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Oda and Kelmo, 3C, AoE, and Windblade, it looks like. We got Selika, did bring Armor Affinity with Forest Priest. We got Shrine Maidens with all of our heals for Rose and Seal, including our 3C. And then Sword and Light Shadow went all single targets and Steelmane Werewolves. Alright. Let's go ahead and dive into this. So I go ahead and rush in. So yeah. This is when I found out that my, I was actually concerned about the terrain in this battle, because like I mentioned, I had the one where you're on the floating platform, and that really messes with the Bright Summoner. But Bright Summoner is not flying, but she is all-terrain. So I was actually able to kind of close the gap here. The only thing that sucks is, unfortunately, Jace is in a position where I can't reach him. And as far as your summon position is concerned, always just assume it's going to be in the worst position. That seems to be the case. It always seems to be behind her. So with that in mind, I was like, alright, cool, I can at least get to Oda and Kelmo and go from there. They do have Reflect, but portals are not up right now, so she can't counterattack. Alright, so no portals. Alright. So Jace goes straight for offense here. No buffs here, but I think he gets a buff from his terrain thing, a little teleport point, but that's about it. Yeah, he gets a little bit of attack intelligence and also increased damage, it looks like. Alright. And then he goes ahead and uses teleport point right now. So yeah, he did get kill, but he's actually still in range. If I go what's it called? If I go Solitary Journey with Isolde, I can actually move again to here and attack Jace. But for right now, it's just like, alright, let's see what my opponent does. The other thing to note, of course, is this teleport point for Sword and Light Shadow. She can only move 3 spaces afterwards, so she can get all the way to here. So if I take a single step forward with Freya, she's going to get targeted. So I go ahead and just use this opportunity to go ahead and just get some buffs going and see what my opponent does. So they're stacking self-reses on Sword and Light Shadow. So now she has 2 self-reses. One from Selika and one from her starting Soul Shard. Alright, some Armor Affinities. and goes for Ice Breath, so some offensive magic. Alright, so I go ahead and shuffle forward. I'm still staying outside the range of the teleport soul here. Alright, so at this point I was like, alright, let's go ahead and just deal with Jace. Solitary Journey, I have a bubble active. Faction buff is active. Yeah, then... Okay, got through the shield at least, but yeah, so I got the kill here, so I don't have to worry about Jace anymore. Alright. So I lose the unicorn pet, which is fine. It did its job. Alright, so I opt to not do anything here. Do I have the faction buff on her? Oh, right, I got Bright Summoner buff, that's right. Okay. So that's why I didn't bother putting up any additional buffs. I could have done Decree on Karika to increase her damage further, but I wasn't that worried about it. So yeah, I go ahead and pass in place. My opponent did get Breeze proc, because obviously with all those stacks of armor, I think it becomes 100%. So, self-res is negated. But unfortunately I got kill. I did proc Thorns, and it procced my my accessory. So I just did tons of Thorns damage right back. So she lost a life from that. Then she died. Then she died again from the fixed damage. The first death, eventually one of these procced her exclusive, which put down a soul shard in place. So she died twice, and then her turn ended, and she grabbed the soul shard. So she's back to having one self-res again. But needless to say, I did quite a bit of damage here, and I lost pretty much all my buffs with Freya. So I go ahead and just run up to attack. I didn't realize that her self-res actually came back because of the shard she placed on her feet. But it's not really a big deal because Sword and Light Shadow is their only damage dealer. So I go ahead and just do Revitalization just to get that restored. Since she did lose the Salika self-res, none of Salika's spells will reach her now. Yeah, at that point my opponent gave up. I think I did get a turn where I actually killed her off, but I think my opponent gave up while I was doing the kill. All right, let's keep on going. All right. So this was kind of a nice box to see because it had a lot of things that didn't upset me as much. They have Betty of all things. We got SP, is it Lanford? Is that his name? And then of course we got a Kyura here as well. Everything else is pretty standard. We also got, you know, SP Leon. We got SP Elwyn. So a lot of the old faces here. They banned my Isolde right off the bat. I go ahead and ban their Ice Melda. I go ahead and grab my Bright Summoner. Alright, so they ban Salika, they ban Eshian. They grab their Bright Summoner. So I go ahead and get rid of Ymera, get rid of Isolde. This time I do go ahead and grab Liana at this point. I didn't want to get into a damage race because I've been losing those. They get rid of my Ice Melda, get rid of my Gren Shield. They grab their Eshian. So at this point I was like, alright, I need to get rid of Salika, get rid of Lanford. And I go ahead and grab Tiana here. They go ahead and ban my remaining healer, which I wasn't that concerned about. They get rid of Silvaria of all things. So I have 4 tanks and Karika left. They go ahead and grab Nemia. So I go ahead and get rid of SP Leon because I know he can close the distance pretty effectively and do a lot of physical damage. I get rid of the Awakened one because she can, of course, do a lot of shenanigans herself. I grab Karika. They go ahead and ban the usual tanks. I grab Risen Seal. So I go ahead and opt to get rid of Elwyn and Lightbringer, so they have no magical tank at this point. And I go ahead and grab Freya. And they grab Kyura, so there's no tank on their side. Alright. Okay, so Karika, I opt to go ahead and bring Snipe again, because no tank. Liana here, usual stuff, 3C, heal, and act again with Windbloom Chanters. I need to pay attention more that I have Windbloom Chanters. Even in situations where I don't need to do any healing, I should be just casting every round. Freya, I did go with Heavy Shield. There's not really that much physical damage. That's melee. Yeah, the only melee is Eshian, but it's better than nothing. I also have Tiana with all exclusives of Wild Expedition. We, of course, have the usual setup for Bright Summoner with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Kyura here went all offense, including Star Sword, which doesn't bypass guard. Bright Summoner, same kit as mine, just my stats are slightly better, I think. Also, theirs is only 4 stars, it looks like. Mine is 6 stars. Alright, I've got Risen Seal here with Miracle and the rest of the Crystal Heals of Shrine Maidens, Eshian, usual stuff you expect, exclusive with Star Prismas. Namiya did bring Coral Volley, which can bypass guard if you're in water. Then she brought her 3C aim and has Island Ambassadors. Okie dokie. So, I go ahead and opt to move first. I move my tank forward since I'm player 1 here. And then Namiya goes ahead and goes straight into setup here. Also, their Namiya is looks to be only 4 or 5 stars. I think 5 stars. All right, hits Freya here, and that's about it. So I go ahead and move up. So I am getting hit with the stupid water terrain, which is very annoying. So yeah, I wasn't exactly sure who I wanted on the target. I didn't feel like I was going to be able to kill Bright Summoner in one go. But to be honest, I think I ended up going for Kyura. Yeah, I think I should have went for Bright Summoner. Because then I could have just went to here, teleport to there, and then try to go for kill on Bright Summoner. But past me didn't do that. I went straight for Kyura. I think it might have been Last Rites that saved her. I do get an act again here. And I spend a long time trying to figure out who to target, because I was like, I could, go up to like here, teleport to possibly there, or, teleport in place, and then get to Kyura and guarantee get the kill on her. I could try going after Namiya, but she may have, and even with Last Rites, I'm pretty sure I'll be okay. And then there's Bright Summoner. And I opt for the worst option, which is Bright Summoner. I almost get killed, but not enough. So now one half of my DPS, one third of my DPS is now fully exposed and didn't actually accomplish anything. So I was 100% expecting to lose a unit here. But my opponent opts to go ahead and just throw out a bunch of terrain here. So at this point I was like, okie dokie, not sure how to react to that. So I go ahead and move in with Tiana. Something I started using this week is Escort. Escort really, like the loss I had last week, I think I could have won if I had been using Escort with Tiana. What it does is it heals her, gives her a move 3 and act again. Also, while she's active, she will she'll initiate battles for her Escort instead of the Escort itself. But for the most part, it's just another move again, act again. It also gives me an opportunity to go ahead and put up this last protection. I don't know if Last Protection works against guard bypass. But I go ahead and just use this opportunity to move up, and I go ahead and throw out my knife just to do some extra damage. So I'm within 3 spaces of Bright Summoner, so I do have a self-res. And I should be able to soak hits for her as well. So I go ahead and get set up with Karika here. I wasn't sure what my opponent was doing here, but she opted to do all this, and then opted to do dash. So at this point I was like, alright, cool, I'm going to go ahead and get Karika into this. She gets buffed up thanks to the act again from Liana. Ends up opting to do all of this instead. Does some decent physical damage, but everything gets reflected back. And I come just short of killing her with thorns. And then she puts out a bunch more terrain. So Karika can go to here. Currently she has a 8 range snipe. So from here I can literally hit everyone except for Kyura. So I was like, I need to get rid of something, because I'm about to lose units. So I go ahead and move in, and I go straight for Bright Summoner. Unfortunately, since the summon's out, Kyura still has 5 units. Or she has 5 units, so Kyura's buff and mobility is still active. Alright. I do have the initiative here, which is nice. Obviously, Namiya by herself isn't really that big of a deal. So I wasn't exactly sure who I wanted to go for. The biggest issue is right now Kyura can kind of get to go after anyone. So I go ahead and just fall back with Bright Summoner. The idea here was I was hoping to put out some special terrain, but the terrain only goes out while I have the summon active, and my summon is dead. So really, I took a huge risk there. There was a good chance I could have possibly missed out on getting kill there. So we're trading kills at this point. Kyura no longer has the extra mobility or intelligence, but she's still going to have plenty to kill Karika here. Alright. So the way Chiana's 3C works is if I'm within 3 spaces, I get an automatic cooldown reduction. Otherwise, I can use it as a teleport. So I go ahead and move 4 spaces away from Bright Summoner, so I can go ahead and get kill here on Kyura. She does have last rites, I think. But it's nowhere near enough. And then I go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and get out of here. Alright. And unfortunately the summon does kill my Bright Summoner. I did manage to counter kill it. Or no, I didn't. I came just short. And this is where I kind of made a mistake here. I move in to kill with my tank, which by itself isn't a huge issue, but I'm now low on HP. This is going to apply stun, and stun is going to get rid of the self-res from Redeemers. So what I could have opted to do instead is I could have ran in with Liana and tried to get killed there. I don't know if it still would have been... I don't think it would have been the best play either way. So we're on a 2-on-2. Their SGN has a self-res built in. Has more consistent buffs, which their buffs are... They still have faction buff active too. Has much more consistent mobility. And... with Rosen Seal has a lot more passive healing, and what I have is an act again. SGN can provide an act again, but providing an act again for Rosen Seal is really not going to help them. So this is where we're at right now. So I go ahead and put up 3C. This was kind of redundant. I didn't really need to do this. But I was kind of worried about getting hit with stunned or something, because the cooldown did get reset because of kill. So for right now, I go ahead and just fall back. I throw my knife just to show that I can do it. And I go ahead and apply Last Protection to Liana. So this will make it so I have a self-res again. Unfortunately, I don't have the plushie on Liana anymore. So my debuff immunity only lasts for 2 rounds. So it's going to wear off next round. Alright, so I believe my opponent also has Breeze. My Tiana, of course, has Breeze as well. So I go ahead and I am moving Liana away from Tiana so I can have as much mobility as possible. Tiana gets +2 mobility as long as her Guardian, what she's guarding, is 4 or more spaces away. And then the big thing to keep track of is Eshian can go 5 spaces normally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here, and then she either can move an extra 3 or 4 depending on how many stacks of effulgence she has. Or not effulgence, what's it called in this? Radiance. She has, I think, 2 or 3 stacks of Radiance. She can actually move 4 spaces with her move again. So I go ahead and just pass turn in place. So the big thing here is I'm trying to wait for my 3C to wear off, but also I'm trying to like hope for a breeze proc so I can get closer without having to expose myself. Because the biggest issue is not just dying, but getting stunned, because the stun is undispellable once it gets applied. Yep, so she got a breeze proc. Her radiance is reset, so she can only move 3 extra spaces, but that's still pretty much the only safe spaces are here. Like, yeah, it's literally anything that's 12 or higher is safe. So yeah, my options are very, very limited at this point. So I go ahead and just hang out for a bit. Mist, of course, is forcing us to get closer together. Yeah, this battle I definitely made a lot of mistakes with. So at this point I go ahead and move together. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to get away from Eshian here. Yeah, that still put her out of range, so that's still good. Alright. So again, I just have to kind of play it by ear. Right now they can go all the way to here. So I go ahead and do 3C again, just in case. I get a Crystal Restore, that's fine. Now I go ahead and, technically that did put me, nope, it's just out of range still. I mean, it was as far as I can move anyway, so I am trying to move in so I can get as close as possible. Unfortunately, I'm back down to 3 movement because I'm close to Liana. Alright, so faction buffs have worn off at this point. They're able to apply Degree over and over again, so... Also, applying Decree does cycle the Radiance stacks more, so she does have some control over that. And again, I'm just kind of staying just out of range, but more importantly, I just got my Breeze proc. So with this plus Escort, I can reach Eshian at this point. Yeah, I can get to here and attack within range, because any further away is the mist. So my opponent takes their sweet time. I go ahead and do act again at this point. This will ensure that she gets her buff active. Does that, I'm not sure why. And then just moves away. And I think she's using this opportunity. Oh, I think it was to cycle her blessing, so she can do a full power decree for extra defense. So I go ahead and move in. So I do have plus 20% attack. And then just increased skill damage. And then my troops are archers versus flyers. So that's the other benefit here. Eshian most likely has last rights, though. And she does have okay defense. She does have Miracle active. And then, of course, she has defense buff. So, got all that going. Guardian Clash. Yep. Even with the crit, just came short. So I do teleport back. But I'm not too worried about it. I'll be able to get in range of somebody this round, no matter what. So Rosensteel go into that space, ensures that Eshian has to be in my attack range now. Eshian does have 2 stacks of Radiance. So yeah, I moved up. Oh, so the other thing to note is, let me cycle back real quick. Eshian doesn't have her move again. So right now, Tiana is actually in a safe spot. So that's why I was able to move up Liana, and that expanded Tiana's range, so I can actually reach Eshian no matter what. So she's going to use Revitalization to try to at least stay alive. Obviously, my attacks are now on cooldown, but I can still attack normally. No last rights. So I get kill here. So this does a few things. One, it gets rid of the self-res, but more importantly, it gets rid of all Radiant stacks. So this ensures that she can't get 2 stacks to be able to apply stun. So with that, I am in pretty much I'm in a safe situation now. Even if she were to get killed, I'll be able to survive. Also, I have Tenacity active, apparently. That was probably from the 3C. Yeah, so my attacks hit first, and that is it. So yeah, a really, really messy fight. But I did get a lot of practice with the Tiana. Tiana's fantastic. But like I said, the biggest issue for this is a lot of the rush boxes. I just don't really have an answer for a lot of them. Like, I'm just going to show what some of these boxes look like. They're all very, very similar. So yeah, this one's a full-on AoE, no tanks whatsoever. And then what this one did was they took Bright Summoner, ran in, did a normal attack with, or did a attack with their summon. Then Bright Summoner ran up and did her AoE, and then followed up with Sword and Light Shadow, and had her do her AoE and then her passive AoE. It's just a lot of damage. I had 2 healers, and I was definitely healing a lot of damage, but at that point, I was in a situation where I would have to spend my entire time just healing just to get anywhere with this. And the fact that it was Bright Summoner, her pet, and a fully fleshed out Sword and Light Shadow with the self-res, I just didn't have an answer for it. And then the other one is usually any combination where they have Virelia. If I let them have Virelia and they reach me first, I kind of just die. So that's kind of what I had to deal with. The good news is, thanks to these point-saving cards, I was able to get to Silver 1. One other match I didn't bother showing is this one. So last week I did show off a battle where I felt bad because I wasn't sure if it was a player or an AI. I can safely say that this is an AI. It's the exact same box. It picks very, very quickly. Not as quickly as most AI types I've seen, but the moment the batch starts, after ban pick, the opponent immediately gives up. And I seem to only run to this whenever I'm on the queue for like 2 minutes or more. So yeah, in Apex it is possible to run into AI apparently, though it's a pretty long wait. So yeah, that was kind of one of my free wins though. But yeah, I lost 4 matches, won 3, and got to Silver 1. So at least getting there. I'm hoping to try to get to Gold 3 this time around. This box is a lot more fun than previous iterations. I may drop Silvaria and grab another healer, just to kind of have a little bit more comfort when it comes to dealing with the massive amount of AoE coming my way. So I could go and grab like Almeda again and kind of go from there, because like I said, Silvaria unfortunately just doesn't cut it anymore. Every box I run into is the same. They have so much range, so much mobility, and so much coverage that she just can't. Despite being the sniper character, she's outranged by a majority of the meta now. So with that in mind, you know what? Let's go ahead and just swap in Almeda for now, and we'll see how it goes. The other option is I could go Auden Kelmo. But that's... I don't really have a follow-up for that. The other option besides Almeda is grabbing Sword and Light Shadow, but again, that's not really super reliable. Verlia also has some pretty good potential. I don't know how many stars she is right now. I can't see it. Oh, she's 5 stars. Problem is, I don't really want to do an AoE box. So yeah, I think for now, it's either I grab Almeda. There's also Namiya, but like I said, Namiya hasn't really been doing much for me. So yeah, I think for right now, we'll just grab Almeda and get that going. That'll at least make sure I have some more healers when it comes to dealing with AoE boxes. Alright, so right now we'll go ahead and call it. I am the Depressed Eeyore. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 20, or not 29, Season 19. I'll see you guys next time.